welcome to Just a Few More Minutes podcast, where three veterans of the animation and video game industry talk about exactly that. Animation and video games.
What's up, y'all? My name's Michael Berardini. That's Jeff Gabor. Sorry, I jumped the gun.
You son of a...
We don't do this very much anymore.
Yeah, when was the last time we did this? It was before
December 1st. Yeah, we do it on the 1st every month. I mean, except for this month.
Except
today's
for this
the
month.
3rd. Today's the 3rd.
I'm just saying it's been a little bit.
It's been a while.
Yeah.
Well, it's year number 3. This is our 3rd year anniversary of Just a Few More Minutes podcast. We've done it. I found out the average podcast only lasts 3 months.
Wow.
Ah.
The average podcast has more listeners than us, though.
And in spite of that, we keep talking into the void.
Pound it out.
Yeah.
Yeah,
You know?
3 years. Perhaps you noticed the new intro music.
I love it.
Oh, yeah.
Done by my buddy Jordan. He's the original composer of the original intro music, and then I asked him to kind of reboot it. So,
Well,
I think
speaking
he did
of reboots, and apropos of this episode, Jeff, cap it off. Just speak about it for a second. What we're doing here.
This is our wrap-up episode. It's the end of the year, and we are talking about the best of video games and animated movies, and I'm sure Pete's going to talk about TV. Michael's going to talk about all the entertainment he's consumed, and I'll talk about the best of the 8 movies I saw.
Well, and just to bring a little newness to this, new year, new me, I cranked this one out on the toilet earlier.
It's Michael's top 6.
You got to give us the audio file for that so we can play it nicely.
Yeah, please do. Please do.
So be prepared to hear that multiple times this episode. I did that 10 minutes ago on the toilet.
That's pretty amazing.
Technology is something else.
Yeah.
Anyway.
So, did you guys have a nice holiday season?
No!
No.
Our vacation, Blue Sky was nice enough to give us the week off for Christmas, but it was spent with sickness around the house. So I ended up actually with a surprise trip to the hospital in an ambulance. So not great.
You?
Yeah, me. Yeah.
That's pretty crazy, man.
Yeah, I ended up.
I'm sorry, I'm laughing, but I've already heard this story.
Yeah, I ended up getting. We went to Deb's OB doctor because our baby's coming any second. So Deb was in there 9 months pregnant, and I ended up getting super nauseous and basically asking for the restroom, throwing up, and then nearly passing out. Nurse walked in on me, freaked out, ended up calling an ambulance and rushed me what was across the street. Yay! And it was nothing. I just had a head cold that I didn't really take care of very well. I was just overworking it.
Shame, I know your name.
Dehydrated, I assume?
Yeah, probably lack of food as well. I hadn't eaten much, and yeah,
Wow, man. It's pretty intense. Wasn't expecting to hear that.
I'm fine. Fine.
Oh.
Fine.
Well, I'm sorry to hear
I passed out
that.
too over the Christmas break, but I'm not going to get into why.
Oh, now I want to hear the story.
I was in Colorado,
You're in your hometown.
Hometown.
Yep. Drinking with your old friends.
And all that implies.
Yeah.
Getting
all
crazy.
That Colorado implies. How was your holiday, Petrie?
Yeah, my Christmas was great. It was very low key. Mikey's playing around with some snapshot action right now.
I am. Whoops! I did another one.
No, it was very low key. I managed to visit all the family and friends before the holiday actually came, and then on Christmas I didn't leave my house. So it was it was planned that way, so that way I could just chill out. Kids could play with their stuff.
Yeah.
Heck yeah, man.
And have a nice day at home.
Every episode starts the same way. Animation tip of the week, and do you guys tell me if I said this one before?
Probably.
Yeah, probably. But I think it's really important because depending on which studio you work at, or depending on how fast your rigs are, there's a possibility that your rigs are actually animating at 24 frames per second or faster, possibly. Especially some of the student rigs and video game rigs as well. So I actually find now that some of the rigs that I work with are fast enough that I actually have an opposite problem. That it's not playing slow enough that I can actually like visually take in the problems and the pops. So in Maya, you can actually go into your playback settings and switch it to make sure it plays all the frames, but you can switch it to play at half speed. So you can actually basically watch it in slow motion, but you want to make sure that you're basically not, there's different settings, and some of them will actually play the in-betweens, meaning that it'll play the subframes, and you don't want that because that'll end up just making, it'll just confuse you in terms of pops and whatnot. But play around with those settings, and I think it really helps work out the kinks and whatnot, so I find it super useful while I'm animating, especially to figure out mechanics and stuff like that.
It's funny how it just like it seems to just like have slowly gotten to the point where playback isn't an issue anymore.
I mean, I still definitely play last. I don't trust it because of that exact reason that Jeff was talking about, where I feel like every once in a while it'll drop frames and it's like, I just want to make sure I got to play blast it, see it how it's actually looking. But
it's totally true, especially when you're going into your final polish. You still want to play blast and make sure you're doing it that way. But just like walks and stuff like that, like I just want to like quickly play it in the viewport, and you can at least find out 80% of your notes that way in shot without necessarily having to take the time to play blast. It's cool. It's very helpful.
Is that only in like 2018? How far does that go back, Jeff? You know the answer to this question, right?
I mean, I don't know exactly how far back it goes, but I've been doing it certainly since Maya 2011, so whatever anybody's using.
Good. Good job.
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah, and before that, I don't think anybody needed it. I don't know. I mean, it wasn't until the last couple of years where it started to get really prevalent that rigs were starting to speed up. And I think that had to be to do with multi-threading, Pete. You were talking about like the slowly catching up. It's like rigs are becoming more parallel, more processors are being able to take on more tasks at the same time rather than slowly calculating each part of the rig separately and then drawing the frame. So that's all contributing to why rigs are so much faster these days.
I'm not complaining, especially after the nightmare that was Horton.
Unbelievable. I still can't believe. I mean, the first sequence we animated with Horton, it would take 3 seconds to change a frame.
Yep. You hit step keyframe forward, hourglass.
Oh God.
Yeah. So it was worse. People would say, "Oh, it's like animating in 2D." It's like, no, because in 2D you could flip your fingers and you could still see your drawings. You did not even have that.
No, really didn't. The closest thing I could think of it was probably more towards the idea of like stop motion.
Yeah.
You don't get anything. No feedback whatsoever.
Yeah, none. By the time that you would actually switch frames in Maya, you'd forget what the last image looked like. So it was pretty pointless. Yeah, cool. that was a nightmare. And it was Horton was the worst. The Mayor was a little bit faster, and eventually the Horton sped up to, I think it would change frames every like 0.8 or 1.2 frames, 1.2 seconds for a frame, which was a huge increase. But I mean, now we're doing 24 images a second. Like, it's a wild difference.
All right, right, so let's get into our top movies of 2018, dudes.
All right, let's do it.
All right.
Who wants to go first?
We should probably preface the fact that everybody probably has the same couple movies on there. Maybe go
Yeah.
with that first, and then be like, okay, well, here's some other cool stuff.
Well, I'll preface this by saying my list is almost entirely made up of animated movies. That's where I did my research, and I have a list of movies that I saw this year that were not animated, and it consists of 3. I saw 3 movies that weren't animated this year. That is sad.
Yeah.
That is sad.
I don't know what my count is, but it's pretty low.
So I know this
mostly animated.
I feel bad having a podcast where it's like these guys are supposed to bring some sort of level of expertise. I'm going to try to do that with the animation. That's the animation. So the live action, I'm going to leave to you, Michael.
Okay. I have mostly live action.
Great. That's good.
Good.
I will learn something.
Probably not, but maybe. Hit us, Jeff. Hit that beautiful mouth that makes those words go on the podcast.
All right. Well, I'm gonna mention the 5 movies that were nominated for Annies this year, and see that'll at least be the first rundown. So those 5 movies are Early Man, that's in the Aardman production, Incredibles 2, Isle of the Dogs, which is the Wes Anderson stop motion movie, Ralph Breaks the Internet, and Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse. Those are your 5. Let's see.
And one of them is way better than all the others.
Notably left off that list is How the Grinch Stole Christmas. In terms of like big movies that are just completely missing there. So notable.
Yeah.
So
is there anything else missing?
Animated?
Yeah. I'm hoping you do research.
Well, they did. They have a whole different category this year for best animated movies that are like a independent feature.
Yeah.
So
really?
So that's where you may be seeing some of the other birds, like Tito and the Birds is one. Mirai, MFKZ, Magnificat. I'm butchering probably that name. So those are probably some really good independent movies, which I will not be commenting on.
So the 5 that you mentioned, those are the 5 that you've seen?
No, I've seen all those movies except for... I've seen every movie that we've mentioned except for... I never did see Ralph Breaks the Internet, so I'll have to let you guys comment on that.
Well, I didn't see these either, but I just want to give them a shout out if we're like listing them. Hotel 3 and Smallfoot also came out this year.
Thanks for the reminder.
Right. Yeah, that's right.
Man, Sony, Jesus Christ.
Sony, right?
And like that Hotel Transylvania animation is fantastic too. They do great work over there.
Yeah, we took a ton of their animators actually after they were wrapped earlier this year. So we have a bunch of Hotel 3 animators on our current movie right now.
That's awesome. Well,
so
go on, Mikey.
Wait, Jeff just listed movies.
Yeah, he never mentioned what his choices were.
Okay, I'll say in my number 6 animated slot, I rated all these, so let me go ahead and put down The Grinch. I like the look of it in terms of like the art direction and the colors were so much a huge improvement over the Jim Carrey version. Like that's probably the thing that bothers me the most about the Jim Carrey, because there's some sort of like, it feels like Batman or something. The Dark, like not the Dark Knight, but like
the first one.
Yeah. Oh man, it feels really creepy, that the Jim Carrey one. So at least they got the like energy of the like colors and the pop and that kind of fun. That was all there. I don't like the modernization. It was just unnecessary in terms of like Pharrell Williams being the narrator really bumped me.
I agree.
Some of the hip hop music type of stuff, like I don't know, it didn't belong.
Yeah.
It just didn't.
The music really, I didn't like it.
Yeah.
I was really confused by the choice of the narrator. Because, like, It just didn't feel right. It felt
No.
like temp narration.
Yeah, it was super confusing. I bet Benedict Cumberbatch actually kind of grew on me. Like, he didn't actually bump me as much.
No.
But yeah, every time the movie started to feel really good was right when they were getting back to the book, and then it would just stray again, and it way, way, way better than Jim Carrey version. But I'll never watch it again. It's just not. It's not the Chuck Jones thing for me. Like, Chuck Jones is it.
That's definitely the classic and the best version. But
Yeah.
I liked this version. I watched the screener over the break finally, and I came away much more pleased with it than I thought I would. Because
That's good.
generally I don't tend to like Illumination stuff because there's something about their humor that just doesn't work for me. But like in the Grinch version, that humor sort of went away, and it was more tame and like tailored towards that universe, I guess. I thought there was a lot of creative visual stuff going on in there.
That is so true. And their animation is so good. Like, you cannot call them a second-rate animation studio at all. They are really good. Their fur, like the ice buildup on the Grinch's fur when it's wind is blowing and all that, like, really fantastic work.
Yep. There's a lot of cool stuff in that movie.
Yeah, and I actually mentioned it in the last podcast. I don't know. I came out feeling that I really enjoyed The Grinch, and I remembered The Grinch and his story, but I don't remember anything else.
I liked, because I honestly don't remember what Cindy Lou Who does in the original, besides like stand around and look cute. And I thought in this version, spoilers if anybody's going to watch it, but the Christmas season is over, so go fuck yourself. But I liked that her story was like basically about her mom being a single parent, which I guess sort of goes hand in hand with your modernization of the story, but I felt like that was a cool little story choice to have with her. So that's my...
Oh, yeah. I forgot about that.
Yeah. I don't know. The thing that bothered me about the Jim Carrey one, and it's not... They didn't completely, go the same route, but what I do like about the Chuck Jones and the Dr. Seuss book is that the Who's are infallible. They look surface level, but it's stripping that out of their material world. They are still 100% okay with Christmas just being about the spirit of Christmas, and that's what changes the Grinch's heart. You don't need Cindy Lou. And that's what's great about the Chuck Jones version is Cindy Lou Who is in there and like is his conscience and says, why are you stealing all this stuff? And is just this little toddler, and to her face, he basically lies to her and steals it anyways. And that was her whole point. It's like even to a child, he's awful, and that was it. And then you see the whole Who's be infallible, which I thought is what's so cute because it's talking about the whole season being infallible.
Well, it's also easier to accomplish in 20 minutes versus an hour and a half.
It is, I'm sure. Like, I'm sure you remember Brett Hoffman, Pete, but this is his one of his big first movies endeavors that he took on, and he was talking about it.
Oh, really?
I don't know, 5-6 years ago. I feel like starting on it, and just how difficult the process is to kind of find the story, because that's you have to find a story within a 20-minute short and even a shorter book. So,
yeah,
it's very difficult.
This is crazy.
And we ran into the same thing with Horton. Like that movie. I mean, I would say The Grinch is better than Horton in terms of visuals and eventual story. Like, for sure. Like we strayed way off of what made Horton.
Oh yeah,
great.
we were way off.
Yeah. All right, Mikey, I got one, and I talked about it nicely. Look at that.
Good job.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a podcast where we're supposed to talk about stuff. Good job.
Yeah.
Any others?
Are we just going to go...
Are we doing one at a time?
Oh, shoot, yeah.
Or...
Oh, sorry, yeah, I'll go ahead and keep running down mine. Next one I have written down is Isle of the Dogs. Isle of Dogs, not Isle of the Dogs.
I didn't see
I was going to let it pass multiple times, but...
Did I say the multiple times? Sorry.
Yeah.
Isle of
All
Dogs. Right. So, Fantastic Mr. Fox, right?
Right. Wes Anderson.
feels very much like that movie, except not nearly as good.
Oh,
It's just not. Fantastic Mr. Fox is so good. It just had a better driving story and characters and charm to it. There's seriously a lot of charm in this movie, but it just lacked that last little like oomph. All the animation is so lovely, and the characters are worth watching, but I don't know. There was something in it that just it lacked that last little bit of like super charm that Fantastic Mr. Fox had. It was, I don't know. Maybe I should go back and watch Fantastic Mr. Fox again and see if I'm wrong. But I just remember every little beat was something special with it. Like all of a sudden cutting to the characters all of a sudden glowing because they were a completely different material. I remember that. Like the eyes being swapped out, the different size of the characters being used.
It's just pretty silly. It's pretty remarkable, dude. Like I've watched that movie religiously. I watch it probably once a month at least.
Oh wow, okay.
Jeez, yeah. I mean I agree. It's not as good as Fantastic Mr. Fox, but I also think it's sort of because it's more of the same, which isn't a bad thing. But Fantastic Mr. Fox was like such a revelation when it came out. I was like, oh shit, you can do super weirdly flat stop motion that looks like Wes Anderson but not, and this is just like doing the same thing but with a different story. Personally, I like the visual aesthetic of Isle of Dogs more than I like Fantastic Mr. Fox, just because I think it's really cool having like modern visuals with Japanese text on the sides and everything, and I just felt like it was really
cool.
Well designed. But I agree the story isn't as good. I also think the voice acting in Isle of Dogs is like awesome.
It is so good. Yeah.
It's all like super subdued adult talk. There's something really good about the way Wes Anderson records his actors.
Yep. It's definitely a movie worth checking out. Especially you, Pete. Like, come on.
Yeah, if you're watching, I don't understand how that one got by me this year. I don't get it.
Next up, I'll talk about Incredibles. Why don't we just skip to that?
Okie dokie.
So
that's your number 4.
Yeah, I guess so. And I don't think I have 6. Did I have 6?
I don't know.
I don't think
just
so.
Whatever.
Jeff's top 5.
You didn't make a song.
No, so I only get 5. So Incredibles 2. It's just sad that it's being compared to the first Incredibles. That is so amazing. So I actually bumped it up because I'm trying to think of it just as an individual movie, and it is pretty damn amazing in terms of the animation, the storytelling, the family dynamic, and how they're weaving that into a superhero movie. It still is really good. It's just being overshadowed by how amazing the first one was and how much of an impact that had on all of us growing up becoming animators. It's just you're never going to get out of that shadow, and this kind of shows it. But I do think they stumbled not bringing enough of the family dynamic or enough of the heart to it. It felt like just another superhero movie where it was like, here's a bad guy, here's their plot, and how you going to stop them, rather than really feeling the charm and the warmth of the story being the family driving it. It was there, but it just wasn't. I don't know. I didn't feel like the stuff in my heart this time.
I felt like it did the sequel thing that I don't necessarily like when they just add more and more characters. Like Incredibles 2, all the extra superhero guys that get thrown in halfway through, and they look like they're designed from a different movie. They have weird powers and stuff. I just was like, I don't like this at all. This is weird. I don't like it. Get out of here.
Yeah, there is that.
I did like the scene. What, I guess it was Elastigirl going into the bad guy's like apartment, and it's like all the hypnotic light shit show. And it's like
the strobe stuff,
yeah, all the strobing. Like I remember that was not good for your daughter, Pete. But
she still hasn't seen it yet.
Oh,
yeah, I gotta rent it sometime.
But I like that scene because it has real tension in it, and that's something not found in animated movies very often. There's like a jump scare in it, and it's like, oh, good on you. It's slightly more adultish.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
And again, the animation is so amazing.
Yeah. I really enjoyed it. I just it didn't stick with me as nearly as much as the first one did, like you said. Like I remember the first one because I was at Blue Sky at the time, and there was like a screening or something. I could be wrong, but they had like a screening of it, and like at the end, everybody was just like cheering, and like it was a phenomenon, you know.
Mm-hmm.
And then
that movie going experience does exist this year, but not for Incredibles 2.
yeah, I get where you're getting. I get where you're going to, but go on, Jeff. Go on.
I was going to mention one thing is the animation being so fantastic. Nominated for an Annie this year is Lance Fight for Incredibles 2.
Oh wow!
How about that?
Awesome.
Yeah, that's pretty cool.
For him.
Yeah. So he's still kicking butt. So good to see his name on there. In my second to last spot, I actually have a couple animated shorts that were screened at the studio, which I found to be really charming.
Oh snap! Jeffen's shorts.
The two DreamWorks animated shorts that came out were both screened at our studio in together. Bilby and Bird Karma. Bird Karma being completely 2D animated, which I just thought was so fantastic. Just not really typical of animated shorts, and just especially when you think of like it coming out of a big league AAA studio like DreamWorks. Not that, I don't know, you can really use AAA for animated movies, whatever. But a big studio, it just is.
No, it's kind of the same thing. I can see that.
But it's it's a low budget looking. It's like watercolor looking. It's just all story, and it's all just timed to music, and it's classic cartoons.
It's just fucking good animation, man.
And just really beautiful too. And then Bilby was directed by a couple people, one of them being J.P. Sands of Treehouse Studios.
Yeah, that's right. Good on him, man. That's so awesome.
Yeah, and it was a really beautiful looking short and really fun. And there's a sequence in the middle, a montage sequence, which is superbly done. So definitely worth a shout out. And I found both of them just to be worth a watch this year.
Yeah. And he could say Sorry, go ahead, Mikey.
No, you go. You had a good joke.
I was gonna say he could say he got his start rotoscoping my puppet to the to my body in the Treehouse Studios shorts.
Yeah.
Jesus Christ.
It's weird, right? Like
I know.
We had I don't know if Oscar noms haven't come out, but I think it's on the short list for Oscar nominations. And he was rotoscoping a puppet's head onto your body. That is, it's totally right. Like that is, F him, man. What the hell? What were you gonna say, Michael?
I think Bilby, the designs alone are worth watching it for. But just the main character, like that is the most appealing fucking designed character I've seen in a long time. I love the design of that guy.
Yeah, and it won't be readily understood if you're searching the short out, but it's a combination of characters that were basically deleted. So once DreamWorks was kind of bought and taken over by Universal, right? They came in and they basically shut down the movie that they were working on, which was this movie. So all the characters basically got abandoned, and JP and a few people came together, and they said, well, let's at least make a short out of these characters and let them see the screen, and that's where they all came from. So it's just a cool like resurrection of a lot of people's passions that maybe would have never seen the light of day.
That's really cool.
And then Bird Karma was one animator that had started this short, what did he say, like 15, 20 years ago? It was like in the 90s.
I think it was like 12 years, something like that.
Really?
Yeah. So he had animated the first minute or so, decade or more ago, and put it down. And then when they had like a pitch fest, he brought it in, and they're like, yeah, let's finish it up. all together.
No shit.
How cool is that? So it was basically one person's like passion project that he basically gave over to the studio to finish up.
Yeah, so Jeff, if you want to like talk to the high ups and try to get Blue Sky to put out Tab Due, that'd be great.
Oh yeah, let's turn that into because how long is yours? We need to make it like 5 minutes at least.
That's like a minute and a half.
Yeah.
2 minutes. I don't know. Bird Karma wasn't that long, was it?
No, I don't think so. It's probably like 3.5 minutes or so.
Look at that, Tab Due, 2.5 minutes.
Oh, that's plenty. Let's just release it.
Let's do it. It has equally as good animation as Bird Karma.
Certainly just as charming.
Sure. And your number one animated movie of the year, Jeffrey?
Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse.
Yeah.
For many different reasons. The story does do a fantastic job at just having depth, strong characters, motivations, has something to say. So that's all well and good, but then you add on top of the actual animation style and the visual effects, the compositing, the way it all has a perspective and a view, and like it or hate it, it at least is a choice. Like finally something that's a strong, bold choice that says, fuck it, we're going for it. And I don't think it was perfected. Like I think there were times where like the characters and the backgrounds and the dots and all that, it doesn't quite mesh like with how much the textures are on the characters versus how much it's not there. It feels weird. But I don't know. Like it's still at least a bold enough choice that it needs to be recognized and appreciated and pushed forward so we can get more of that stuff. And it's just amazing.
Absolutely. I want to read you a quote from Chris Miller and Phil Lord, who produced it. And they said, our job was to just say more and crazier and to say yes to the wildest idea in the room because we knew we had a chance to do something that hadn't been done before. And like that alone is like super good and like nice to hear that, you know, they were not just like trying to refine a sharp edge. They're trying to get that sharp edge to bring something unique to the table, you know?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And it's, oh man, that movie, it's really something else. Everything, like you were saying, like the story to the visuals, like everything works together to make it better. Because it's like you can't just point to one thing that explains why that movie is so fucking good. Because it's every aspect of it.
My favorite probably aspect of the whole movie is the character design. Like they feel so pushed, yet completely relatable, and that is hard to do. So
and appealing as all hell.
Yeah.
His uncle, I really love the shape of that guy's fucking head.
Yeah, I love it. Yeah, he's probably my favorite character in that movie. Just really well done, pushed. And I think for you and I, Michael, we feel it even a little bit more because we're like, we have a big, major black character as our main character in the current movie we're working on. And it's like, so it feels very like, oh, I see what they did versus what we did, and then it's like it's such an easy, tangible thing to like look at your artwork next to theirs and be like, oh, we could do a little bit of that, and they I don't know. It's fun to bounce ideas off of it, doing something similar. So you can definitely appreciate what they did extremely well.
Yeah, I really loved the animation. I loved that sometimes it was like it had that stepped feel, you know. But at the same time, there were moments where you could see that they did actually spline it.
Mm-hmm.
You know, in some spots, it was like the way they chose those moments, like went hand in hand with like the cinematography. It was crazy.
Well, and I think
really is like fucking a masterpiece. There's no doubt about it. It is a fucking masterpiece.
Talking to some animators that worked on it, it was the Wild Wild West apparently. Like animators were given free reign, be like, I'm going to put it on 2s. I'm going to put mine on 3s. I'm going to do mine a mix of 1s and 3s and 4s. Like, it was just Wild Wild West.
Shi-Yun Kim was the character designer on Spider-Man. look him up on Instagram because he's been posting a lot of his like character sheets and stuff. It is some of the most appealing fucking designs. I love them because they're not that like generic Disney style, even though there's like a hint of it, but it's pushed into like a more realistic shape language and stuff.
Yeah.
I gave that guy $10 for his Photoshop brushes.
Oh really?
Yeah.
It didn't make you as good an artist as him?
Nope. I was like, I just need this guy's brushes, right? Oh no, nope.
So do you guys want my movies, or do you want to go next, Mike? I think we should save you for the end because you have the most interesting choices. Probably, I'm probably just gonna reiterate things.
All right, go for it.
So, my favorite. I saw a bunch of movies, but I wanted to just include my favorites because I didn't see enough to really make all of them my favorite.
All right.
But my two favorite movies this year was Spider-Man, obviously, just gushed over it, and Annihilation.
Hey,
I loved that movie.
I saw it. I did.
good job, Jeff. That's on my list as well, Petrie.
I literally saw it when it first came out on DVD, but I remember enjoying it very, very much.
So the reason I like it so much is
refresh my memory, please.
Well, all female cast for the most part, except for Poe Dameron from Star Wars, but he's like in it for a second and gone. And they go into this crazy, weird forest and try to find stuff, but it's so fucking surreal and weird, and the climax of the movie is so far in left field, nobody's expecting it. It's a very unique movie-going experience to witness, and you may not understand it, but do you understand the ending of 2001 either?
I was going to say it's exactly 2001. I mean, not in a bad way.
2001, okay, good. I was going to say 2001 is like one of the best movies ever made.
Yeah.
Probably my second favorite movie of all time. And just to like scratch the surface of that level of oddness is something to be celebrated. And the fact that this movie was even made with a big studio is like crazy.
That's true.
I'm trying not to spoil the ending, but
yeah, you can't. You don't want to spoil it because you don't want. Yeah,
but
because it's not one of those movies that like everybody went to see in droves.
No, and I think it's still worth picking up because the all-female cast is basically a ragtag group of, I don't know, military-esque, they're not military, but researchers that are investigating a large shimmer that's taking over the land. So they go inside this shimmer and basically trying to get to the center of it and see what's there. So that's the mystery. What's at the center? Why is it so difficult? Why have teams before it not been able to see what's in the center and come back?
Yeah, so bizarre. Such a bizarre movie.
I will say, if the listener, I'm talking directly to you. If you have not seen the movie and you like reading books, read the book first, because it's even weirder and more obtuse than the movie. And the ending of the movie is very different than the ending of the book. And they're both just fucking weird and great and different.
I have the book. I should finish it up. I started it.
You probably should.
It. Yeah.
Can I just say without any spoilers, the bear scared the fuck out of me, dude. That was the coolest part, man. That part is cool. That was so creepy.
Dude,
oh my God.
There were the designs of it I found online. Like, there's stuff built into that bear that you don't ever see unless you're looking for it. But, like, it has a skull on the side of its head that... No spoilers. Never mind. But
yeah.
It's just so fucking cool. As a previous thing, I loved it.
Yeah. Oh, fuck you, Jeff. Dude, Jeff, stop.
That just made the hairs on my neck stand up, man.
That's the worst. That's the fucking scariest thing in the world, dude.
I love it.
So good. That part is good.
It was a good scene.
That stuck with me. There was another scene that stuck with me, involved a knife.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, that was pretty crazy too.
When we saw that in the theaters, that was the moment that people got up and left.
Oh, really?
Yep.
So much crazy shit. Like that. Oh, dude, when that. I want to talk about it now, but I don't want to spoil anything because it's so like when the tree. You remember the tree? I'm trying to be cryptic here, but
I don't remember the tree.
Yeah, we can talk about it at the end of the podcast if I didn't spoil it.
Everybody go see it.
Yeah, because it's really good.
All right, moving on. What was the next movie?
That's my only two movies.
What was the other one?
That I chose for my favorites? Spider-Man.
Oh, okay.
It's Michael's top 6. All right. So, we've covered 2 of my top 6 movies, and I have some honorable mentions that maybe I'll slot in there or just throw on at the end. Anyway, at number 6, it's a movie that I literally watched last night that I had meant to watch since it came out, but I just never got to it. Leave No Trace. You guys heard of this one at all?
Mm-mm.
It's about a father and a daughter, like a teenage daughter, that are living in a wildlife park in Washington outside of Portland. And that's illegal and stuff happens, but it's just like the story of their life and how they are trying to live and everything. And it's a fucking fascinating movie because it's just a really small character piece essentially about their life. But like the thing I loved about it was that it basically, you know how in movies people make decisions and you're like, oh, why would you do that? That's such a movie decision. Nobody in real life would do that. Like everybody in this movie acted like I expected them to. And every time you get to one of those moments where like, okay, now they're going to do this, or this terrible thing is going to happen. It's like, nope, we're just going to deal with this normally and logically. And everyone is just nice for the most part. And when people do make bad decisions, it's character driven and not like plot driven. I highly recommend it because it's a really good, very small movie about family.
Leave No Trace.
Leave No Trace.
How would you compare to? Do you remember a couple years ago there was that movie, the Search for the Wilder People or something like that? The Wilder People.
Oh, Hunt for the Wilder People.
Yeah.
I mean, it's a little similar. That one is definitely like a comedy.
Okay, yeah, more cutesy, like pushed. Okay.
Yeah, tongue in cheek. This one is pretty serious. I don't think there was much laughter to be had, but it's not like a sad movie. I just was fascinated by the situation and the characters. And the dad is Ben Foster, who usually plays like really weird guys. Like if there's a cowboy movie, he's always the cowboy that's like a little crazy and will shoot people. But this time he was like a mellow guy. I thought he played it really well. And then the daughter, she was pretty young, but she felt super real to me. There was one acting choice, I forget what she said, but it was like, oh shit, that was improv and that was good. Good job, girl. But anyway, everybody go watch it. It's like available now to rent and shit.
AJ Flicks.
It is on AJ Flicks. That's where I watched it. At number 5, maybe Pete saw it, probably not, but I know a lot of other people did. A Quiet Place.
No, I didn't see that.
That's too scary.
I
for
remember.
me, man.
I remember like laughing at the trailer. So I don't know if it's on your list. It's obviously pretty good. So
I mean, you sort of have to check your what's the word? Whatever. You have to like
suspension of disbelief.
Yeah, because if you find it silly, that's the premise of the movie. You're gonna have to get over it or not. But I felt like they did a very good job of it and made it believable. And as opposed to Bird Box, which just came out on Netflix, which felt like not a ripoff, but sort of like a riff on that idea, where in A Quiet Place, there are monsters in the world that react to sound, so you have to be very quiet. And that's a really good jumping off point for a movie. Bird Box was people, if they look outside or through a window, and it's very vague, they see stuff that makes them kill themselves. And then there's a bunch of other shit. Blah, blah, blah. The payoff for Bird Box was not good. The payoff in A Quiet Place was good and clever and actually like made sense. Bird Box sucks. Fuck Bird Box.
Why is everybody talking about it so much?
Everybody's like losing their fucking minds over it. And like what you just described to me was that M. Night Shyamalan movie.
Yeah.
Pretty much. What was it called? The
Happening.
The Happening. Yeah.
Yep. It's very similar and even less interesting visually, because in this one everyone's blindfolded, so you just have a movie of people going like, I can't see. That would have been more interesting.
Fuck you, Jeff. I don't think you realize where that lies on my scare factor. That was like that was like up there with robots, man. That was up there.
Robots.
He hates robots.
I hate robots.
Not the movie. I mean, because everybody hates that. But it's
no, I don't like robots. I think they're creepy and
they don't exist.
they disturb me. No, they do. There's ones on YouTube that scare the shit out of me.
Oh, those ones? I know what you're talking about.
Those MIT ones
like,
where
walk
people
upstairs and shit.
Yeah, he doesn't like the ones where you can kick over and they like kind of like get back up and stuff.
And I don't like the Japanese mouth robot that speaks. It's just no. That thing needs to be destroyed.
Yeah. How do you feel about Japanese robot that is a dinosaur that serves sushi? Because I saw that on Twitter. That exists.
I might be able to deal with that. It depends how it moves. All that herky-jerky shit, it's creepy.
At number 4, it was on my list for most anticipated movies of the year, and it made the cut. First Man.
First Man?
Yeah, the one about Neil Armstrong going to the moon.
Mm-hmm.
Directed by Damien Chazelle, who did Whiplash and La La Land. And it was a harrowing experience. Like, kids grow up wanting to be astronauts, right? Show them this movie and they're like, fuck that, no way, it looks scary as shit. Like Apollo 13, nothing on the takeoffs in this movie, man. And it's pretty crazy because I think they shot the whole thing on 16 millimeter because it's a period piece and it took place in the 60s. And I saw it in IMAX, and like, it's interesting because everything is shot really personally because it's his story essentially. So you never cut wide to see the spaceship like leaving the atmosphere or anything until the end, but that's story stuff. But like the first couple times he goes into space, the camera's like right next to him in the spaceship the entire time as it's taking off, and everything's shaky and the sound is like exploding and it's crazy and scary and it's very intense. And that's one side of it. The other side is the family drama, which depends on your knowledge of Neil Armstrong and his history. I didn't know much about his personal life, so I found it fascinating. Everything that he was going through with his family and his kids and stuff, and like all of the drama and the deaths in his life that sort of pushed him. And it had a really nice emotional payoff at the end that I talked to other people about, and they're like, it was cheesy and I didn't like it, but I liked it. So everybody go see First Man for the first time.
How does it hold up to The Right Stuff? Like, it sounds kind of similar.
I am gonna be honest with you. I've still never seen The Right Stuff.
Oh, okay. It sounds kind of similar because it was they go through all the testing of. They show like the behind the scenes of the testing of like the people who were breaking supersonic speeds and everything like that.
Yeah, I mean, I won't say that this movie is dissimilar to all of these types of, like, you know, movies like Apollo 13 and all that other stuff. Like, there's a lot of same beats of how things happen and everything, but I just found this one to be exceptionally engrossing. At number 3 is Annihilation, which we already talked about. And number 1...
Shut up, Jeff. I know you're
Spider-Man.
Spider-Man.
Spider-Man. Okay, so I'll just do number 2, which I know neither of you have seen and probably never will. And my wife won't even watch it with me because it scared the living shit out of me. Hereditary.
Yeah, no.
So Hereditary is about a family whose grandmother just passed away, and there's the daughter, the youngest daughter, had a very close connection with the grandma, and I don't even know how to explain this movie. It just devolves, and it's a scary movie, yes, but it's also a really intense family drama, and I would say for 70% of the movie, it's an intense family drama, and then it gets scary. But the scary is exceptionally affecting. But there's a moment, probably in the first half of the movie, that stuck with me forever, and I couldn't sleep because of it. And it's not like a horror trope. It's something that could actually happen in real life. It's not like ghosts or something. It's something real, and it's the way that people reacted to it that felt so real to me, and it just like fucking cut me to my core. It was insane.
Nah.
Aside from, oof, man, and I can't say that. I was about to spoil it.
Nah, don't spoil it. But I'll never see it. But there probably are listeners who want to see it now that you said that.
Absolutely, and it's something to behold, man. It's a really good movie, and like I remember Garrett, who is one of our buddies that also enjoys scary movies. He went and saw it before me, and he was like, "Oh man, I just can't stop thinking about it. I don't want to see it again." And I was like, "Oh wow, it must be pretty good." And then I saw it, and afterwards I was like, Garrett is the most fucked up individual ever. Why would he ever want to see this movie? But then, like, as time goes on, it just stays with you and stays with you and stays with you. And I want to see it again. I have it on Blu-ray, but I can't get anyone to watch it with me, and I don't want to watch it alone.
Jeff, you're right up the street.
Come on, bud.
That'd make a really messed up reaction video. Just do a podcast while we watch that and just have me cry into the mic.
You should. I highly recommend it if you're into that sort of thing. I thought it was highly effective.
You know what? I wanted to mention last year's most anticipated movies that I had written down, just as a recap of what happened. So on my list was Annihilation.
Yep.
We talked about it. Good. Saw it. I Love Dogs. Talked about it. Ready Player One.
Oh
yeah.
That movie was awful. It was absolutely that was the biggest letdown of the last
I forgot
decade.
about Ready Player One.
Ugh, god damn.
That's too bad.
The drive backwards. Whoa. Nobody ever drove backwards before in a video game? Okay. That's
So
when it immediately lost me.
Yeah, hated it. You Were Never Really Here, which, good movie. I'm halfway through. I tried to get it in time for the podcast. Sorry.
That's on my list of movies I still need to see.
The New Mutants, it got delayed to this year.
Yep.
Incredibles 2 we talked about. Alita got delayed till this year. And then Venom, which was panned so badly I decided not to see it.
And yet has made more money than Spider-Verse.
That's sad.
That's fucking sad.
Incredibly sad. Because people are stupid and think live action is better than animation. I have some honorable mentions.
Good.
And I'll just run through them. I also have a list of movies that I feel like had a really strong chance of making my list if I got to see them. So, Suspiria, remake of the classic horror movie, looks pretty good with music by Tom York. Fuck yeah. Mandy, the new Nicolas Cage movie that looks fucking insane. I feel like that could have been my number one if I had fucking seen it. Sorry to Bother You, and The Favorite.
Are these all horror movies?
No.
Not Mandy.
Suspiria is, and Mandy, sort of. But The Favorite is, I never remember his name, Yorgos Lanthimos or something. He directed The Lobster and The Killing of a Sacred Deer.
Oh, man. I love The Lobster.
Yeah, The Lobster was great.
Wait, what movie was it that you said? What's the name of it?
The Favorite.
That's just the name of it, The Favorite.
Yep.
Oh, okay.
It looks really good.
I'm going to check it out. Did it just come out like last month or something?
Yes. Actually, we might go see it this weekend if you want to tag along.
Oh, boy. I'm going to have I'm 90% sure I'm going to have a baby this weekend.
Oh, right. I forgot about that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Could be happening right now.
That could be. It could be upstairs right now. I'm going to go upstairs and there could be like, yeah, we're heading to the hospital soon.
A few quick honorable mentions. Mission Impossible Fallout, I thought was one of the best Mission Impossibles. The duo of Black Panther and Avengers Infinity War, I thought both of those were exceptionally well done Marvel movies.
Yeah, Avengers was really good.
I think I list them together because I think they're both excellent. I think Black Panther is the more important movie and the better movie, but I felt like Infinity War, I haven't been to a movie with that charged of a crowd in a long time. Like, that's an event when the Avengers movies come out.
Mm-hmm.
If you guys haven't seen the new Black Mirror movie on Netflix, Bandersnatch, it's a choose your own adventure, and it's fucking cool as hell.
Huh. I heard about that. I don't get how that works.
It's like a video game, essentially, but it's live action.
It's like an old Sega CD game.
Yeah. And the whole story is about a kid in the 80s making a video game, a choose-your-own-adventure game.
Do you get selections on screen?
Yeah.
Oh, you really? Weird.
Yeah.
What's it called again?
Bandersnatch.
Bandersnatch?
Yeah. That's the name of the game that the kid is developing. And there's 5 different endings, and you get one ending and it's like, oh, that was cool, but then it very easily reverts you back to where you need to be to get to more endings, so you can quickly see everything and how things turn out and different possibilities. It was really cool.
It's on Netflix?
Yep.
Cool.
Also on Netflix, Alfonso Cuarón's movie Roma. Have you guys heard about that at all? No? Oh, man. It was at Sundance. I think it's listed, or I guess they're not out yet, but potentially will be listed for Best Picture. We watched it. It's a black and white movie about a maid in Mexico that starts very, very slowly with really great cinematography, but it's super slow until the second half when they just cram all of the drama and intensity into the last 30 minutes. And I thought the second half of the movie is very much worth it. And then my final shout out is not a movie at all, but I'm not doing TV shows this year because I pretty much spent half of my time this year watching the Dungeons and Dragons podcast on YouTube known as Critical Role.
Cool.
Thank you. But I've literally spent hundreds of hours listening to this thing, so it is sort of the best movie I've watched nonstop for the past year.
It's a podcast?
I mean, it's It is a podcast, but it's just 8 voice actors playing Dungeons and Dragons, and they're voice actors from video games. And then they record it and just put it out.
Wow.
And you can watch it on YouTube. It's fucking thrilling. It's really good. Like, there's legit tears and laughter. Before I started this, I would have said Dungeons and Dragons is the fucking nerdiest thing, and I will never, ever watch or listen to anything about it. But now I'm like deep in it, dude.
So do you listen to it while you work? Like how?
I try to.
When do you consume it usually?
As often as possible. I do try to listen to it while I'm working, but I end up not working too much when I'm listening to it because they have cameras on everyone, and I want to see everyone's reactions to all the things that are happening. Mm-hmm. So usually over lunch break, I'll watch it. On the weekends, I'll watch it and just draw while listening to it. It's legit like 150 episodes. Each episode is 3 to 4 to 5 hours long. So.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that's a commitment.
Yep.
Wow. Sounds cool.
It's good stuff, though. Yep.
Sounds very cool.
Anyway, that's my movie entertainment lists.
So, video games, yeah.
So I was going to run down my most anticipated list that started this year. And on it was Anthem. Didn't come out. Knights and Bikes. Didn't come out.
Didn't come out.
Ori and the Will of the Wisps. Didn't come out. Kingdom Hearts 3. Didn't come out. Death Stranding. Didn't come out. The Last Night. Didn't come out. So, not a great year for games that I was looking forward to. What did come out was Mega Man 11.
Yeah.
And it's not for me. I did not like it. I played all the way through, got it, everything. The voice acting is awful. It doesn't feel like a Mega Man game. It didn't feel fair. Like, it just felt dirty. Like, I know Mega Man has, like, cheap deaths throughout the series, but it didn't feel right. And that was one of the only games that was on my most anticipated that I didn't like. And then there was a bunch of games that just surprised me that were amazing that did make my list that I didn't have any know of. Celeste is... I'll just go ahead and say that's my favorite game of the year. So that's my number one. If I were to go in another order, I really loved Hollow Knight. I loved Blossom Tale, although that may have come out right at the very end of 2017. I don't know. I mean, I played a shit ton of Fortnite. Loved that. Super Blood Hockey, I think, was technically 2017. That was a great game. Messenger, although slightly disappointing, I played it a lot and found it to be overall fun. And a close second in terms of my favorite games this year was Spider-Man. Just, God.
The PS4, yeah.
So fun, just swinging through New York City that actually looks and is built to be New York City. It's the closest I've ever come to actually being Spider-Man. It just felt cool. It's like you finally get to feel like, wow, this is what it would really be like. This is cool.
Yep.
A lot of fun side missions. Just, it keeps you... It's what I was hoping the game was, and I got worried that it wasn't. But I just wanted an open world where I could do whatever I want, and that is what it is. And it's just awesome. I love it.
Yeah, the game feels great. That's the best part about it, is just the feeling of it.
Yeah, my only complaint is you're not always Spider-Man.
Sucks.
Yeah, the story's not necessarily great, and then it's like, why do I have to be Mary Jane? Why?
Oh yeah, those fucking sections suck.
Yeah.
Those are not fun.
No.
And the sneaking in those sections are not very polished, and that's you get caught because of bad game mechanics instead of
Yep. Celeste, baby.
So,
Celeste,
yeah.
Celeste is great. We both just bought copies of the physical limited edition run.
Oh, you guys got it?
Got it, yeah.
Get it at the right price?
At the right price. We got it legit.
Yeah.
Those things are... So, it was going for $79.99 unlimited run, and immediately went to eBay, and there are sold versions. I checked sold, not just listed, sold for $179.99 right now. Insane.
Dang.
That's out of control.
See,
Yeah,
and
Go ahead,
go.
Mikey.
Well, I was just doing it to help you out in case you didn't get one, Jeff. But then I started thinking about it, and I was like, well, shit, man. If I can get Celeste on PlayStation, I can actually play it with a normal D-pad that doesn't fucking send me crooked every time I want to go straight.
Yeah.
Like that goddamn Switch does.
Yeah.
I'm convinced all the speedrunners are playing it on the PlayStation or Xbox or whatever. Like, they're not playing it on the Switch, man. That controller's bogus.
Yep.
Now you're talking about, because I was playing it on with the Pro controller.
Yeah, I was playing on the
fine.
Pro controller. No, I still kept having issues with the Pro controller.
Really?
And I'm even more convinced of it because I've been speedrunning Ninja Gaiden a lot lately. And Ninja Gaiden came with this month's retro console online for the Switch. So I tried playing with the Pro controller, and I cannot play it. It's so hard. I constantly do things that I don't intend to. I'm constantly moving the wrong way, and I'm like, this is what Celeste was like. Now Ninja Gaiden feels like Celeste, where it's like slightly not perfect. So I'm actually excited to play it on the PlayStation as well. Did we ever talk about that section in Celeste where it's sort of like you're in the mirror dream world part and the music gets all effed up? Did we ever talk about that on the podcast?
I don't know.
I
don't really remember that part.
Oh.
It's so good. If you go onto YouTube and search for it, someone took that soundtrack and played it backwards, and it actually has a woman's voice talking.
Oh yeah.
And you basically hear the inner monologue of Celeste and her inner struggles. It's amazing.
No shit.
Oh my god, that game is so deep and good. Love it.
Yep, I agree.
I'm gonna have to check that out.
Classic. It's on my list, and it's high up there.
So somebody actually posted the reversed version of it?
Yeah, they took it, they posted it reversed, and so you can hear what it's like, and then they isolated the vocal track so you can actually make out what they're saying even better. It's definitely you can just go onto YouTube and look for Celeste music backwards or something like that.
That game surprised me because, I knew it would be fun to play, but to have that emotional gut punch that it does with just such a pixel art aesthetic, and I don't know, I did not expect that game to be about depression and stuff, and then it was, and it was really fucking good.
Yeah, and also it took on depression and anxiety, the whole feather aspect of it. There's even drinking issues with it, and Celeste ends up ruining relationships because of her drinking. Just really, it's good.
Do you ever notice that is the name of the mountain, Jeff?
Oh yeah. What is her actual name though? I'm trying to remember.
I forget. I don't know.
Did you guys ever notice that when the
Madeline?
That's right.
Madeline.
Yeah, her Madeline. Yeah.
Sorry.
When the screen shrinks down after you die, there's it's like a lock. You're looking through a keyhole. You ever notice that?
No, there's a lot of things. I started recording it and frame effing through it and some of the effects of what's actually going and looking at the animation. It's really crazy. One of the weirdest things, not to get too nerdy, but I don't know if the speedrunning community, how they deal with it, but there's an internal clock to the game that you can turn on because the developers wanted to encourage speedrunning, right? So you can click on and then it has a timer running in your upper left. Every time you hit one of those jewels to regain your boost, the game pauses the entirety of the game for a couple frames, including the clock. So if the more times you hit that, you end up being it fucks with the timing of reality. So if you were to time it on a stopwatch versus the game, it's going to slowly get off because of that frame pausing.
There's no way that was a mistake.
I can't imagine that.
That couldn't be a mistake.
Yeah. So it's very interesting.
Wow,
It's
that's deep, man.
Yeah.
You got deep in that shit.
Yeah, I started getting into it. Yeah.
Yeah, you brought that into Maya, and we're checking stuff.
I was literally brought into Maya and started rotoscoping it with other characters and trying to see exactly what it was doing and the mechanics behind it, and it's really interesting. Just stuff you wouldn't expect. Just cool.
Did you see? There that team, they had another game coming out, Skytorn, that they've been working on for years, like well before Celeste even came into being, that they canceled it a couple days ago.
Oh, I didn't see that. That's sad.
Yeah, I've always been really excited for it because the design of it looks great, but it was apparently a randomly generated Metroidvania, and that in and of itself is like just a design that they never could crack, I guess. So they just were polishing a piece of poop for this entire time and finally decided to pull the plug, which sucks. But they also said that they're going to announce something new, I think this month, sometime soon. So we got something else to look forward to from them.
Good.
Didn't they say they were going to do more content for Celeste?
Oh yeah, they are releasing some like extra hard levels.
Yeah.
Oh, I couldn't even get through the Seasides. Could not get through it. I still got to keep going. I maybe I'll pick it up on the PlayStation if it's a little tighter.
Yeah. All right, is that all your games, Jeffrey?
Yeah.
Petrie?
A couple of surprises, which aren't modern games, is me actually sitting down and committing to speedrunning Metroid for Extra Life.
Yeah, that's
that was
cool.
So much goddamn fun. Another one was I played this game that I got in the mail on a NES homebrew called Swords and Runes, and that was surprising because they managed to get such compelling combat mechanics with the most minimalist graphics I've ever seen. And so I played that a bunch, and I really enjoyed it. Played Overcooked 2 a lot. That was fantastic fucking game.
Yeah.
They basically took the first one and somehow made it better.
And harder.
And a lot harder, yeah. And I played Overwatch a lot. I know it's not a new game, but there's always this crazy paper, rock, scissors game going on behind the scenes.
Yeah.
Between certain characters, and it's just balanced so well.
Still gotta play it.
Yeah, there's
It's
no
probably
good.
a little too late for me to jump in.
You know, I jumped into it on PC, and then I played around with it for a little bit. But it wasn't until I had a friend to play with that I actually really got into it.
Oh, Jeff.
I fucking hate you.
There was like genuine fear and frustration in his face when you played that.
So, yeah. And then Celeste was on there. Definitely one of the best games of the year. I would say the other one that I really loved was a game called Into the Breach.
Yeah.
Made by the people who made FTL.
Yep.
And
it's Pacific Rim chess.
Yeah. It's so much fun.
But like way more complicated than chess.
Yeah, and
because there's so many variables.
It's hard too, because like the environment gets involved, and like you got to pay attention to your power, and I don't know. I absolutely love that game.
Yep, that was in contention for number 6 spot on my list, but I pulled it off because I couldn't beat it.
Well, it's a hard fucking game.
Yeah, I've gotten to the final boss multiple times, but I've just always flubbed it on like, because you only have a certain number of turns before shit happens, and it just never lined up for me.
Oh man. Yeah, I haven't gotten that far. Holy shit. But yeah, definitely worth checking out. And I think it's what, $15?
Yeah, and it's
on
like
Switch or something
the
like
perfect Switch game.
Yeah.
Because it's turn-based, so you just take it to work, think about it, do your move, put it away. Not that I ever did that.
And that's it for me.
That's it. All right. Hold on. It's Michael's top 6.
I love how in a rush you are when you're singing that.
It's Michael's top 6.
At number 6, Jeff already mentioned it. It's Spider-Man. It would be higher if the story was more interesting.
Mm-hmm.
that basically kept me from thoroughly enjoying it. It was fun to play, got a little monotonous, but the animation is fucking great. I think they nailed it. Best Spider-Man of the year. Oh, wait, no, not quite.
Third best, I would say.
That's actually true. At number 5, a game that I don't know if I'm even halfway through, and I don't know if I'll finish it, but I had to include it for how obsessed I was with it for a while. Red Dead Redemption 2. Which is much higher on like lots of internet places list, but it's a very fascinating game because it genuinely feels like a living, breathing world, and it was just fun to be in and witness it because there's so much dynamic shit going on that you don't know if it's scripted or if it's just happening and you happened upon it or if it was meant to be there for you. It's really well put together game world that sucks you in, and then you end up just riding your horse around for 3 hours just to look at the fucking view. And then you realize, I've just been riding a horse for 3 hours to look at a view. What am I doing? And then you move on to play something else. And that something else is my number 4 game, Dead Cells.
Oh, you like that, huh?
Dude, I fucking love that game.
I haven't played it yet. I heard it was fantastic.
Like, I stayed away from it for a bit because I didn't like the look of it because it's pixel art, but it's like generated from 3D models and 3D animation. And I was like, that's not real pixel art. Fuck that. But when you're playing it, you don't notice that at all. And it feels great. It's like one of the best platformers that I've played in a while. And it feels like an old school Castlevania, but like tighter and better. And there's a lot of intricate level design. It's all randomly generated, but it's sort of like the norm with a lot of these things where, you know, you have your levels that are all randomly generated, but generally your exits to the next level are sort of in the same location. So you always know to go like southeast to get out of this area. And they do a lot of interesting things with time in the game because, you know, when you play the first level for the first time, it's really hard, and just getting to the end of the level is a success. But since it's randomly generated, and when you die, you go back to the beginning of the game, and you have to do it all over again. Like, they sort of encourage you to move through it quicker to get to the next level, because in the next level there are doors that are locked by time. So you should get through the first level in less than a minute to get to the time door in the second level, which theoretically will give you the same amount of like upgrades and stuff as you would have gotten from the first level if you spent your time killing literally everything in it. So it's like actively encouraging you to play through, you know, super thoroughly or super fast, and then it rewards you to get to a similar location once you've upgraded enough to be able to do that.
That's crazy.
It's really cool, and that's another one that I haven't beaten, but I've gotten very close to beating it, and I highly recommend it to you guys. I feel like both of you would really like it. Especially you, Jeff. I saw you playing Enter the Gungeon the other night, and I was like, come on, man. Play something else. I feel like Dead Cells would be like perfect. It's the exact same idea, but just side-scrolling.
I nearly downloaded it, and then I was like, I'm going to buy a hard copy.
Of Enter the Gungeon?
No, I did do that. But no, of Dead Cells. And then I did just buy a hard copy of Moonlighter.
Oh, you did?
Yeah, so it just came today.
Nice.
I heard that was great, too.
I'm playing that right now. That's an honorable mention, but it is fucking addicting. It's like playing an old school Zelda game and just collecting loot and then going back to your house and selling it and making a buttwad of cash to buy better shit. It's like the perfect gameplay loop. Anyway, number 3. A game I don't think either of you even attempted to touch. Monster Hunter World.
No. I attempted.
Oh, you did? It was definitely an acquired taste. I played the demo when they put that out, and I was like, this is sort of like slow and cumbersome and doesn't feel super good, but once you play it, you start to feel the weight of everything, and you find the weapon that works for you, because there's like weapons that vary from incredibly slow to pretty quick. And I feel like I found the perfect weapon, the charge blade, and like just a bunch of us played that nonstop for hours and hours and hours and months. So I had a blast with that game, and that was a new type of game for me, because I don't usually play online with friends all that much. Like, I played Destiny with you fuckers for a little bit, but shooting shit isn't that interesting. But when you're working in a group to take on like multiple giant monsters with different strategies every time, and you have to change up your armor sets for them and everything, it was just like super, super interesting to me. It was really fun.
Monster Hunter World.
Yep. And then they put out Monster Hunter Generations or something on Switch, but it was like the old school Monster Hunter instead of this new version where they basically made it more accessible to Americans. And I tried playing it. I was like, nah, not for me. Not Monster Hunter World. Anyway, number 2, Celeste. Great. Everyone go play it. I've been listening to the soundtrack nonstop for the past week because it's good. And number 1, a game I don't think either of you played either, which you probably should have, so we could have had a guest on this show, God of War.
Oh, yes.
That was the best story-driven game of the year by far. Emotional, powerful, gameplay was fucking great, felt good. Every time you call that axe back to your hand and it snaps and it scales up for a frame just to show the impact. Oh, it was so fucking good.
I agree. It's probably the best game I haven't played. It sucks.
Yeah, you both look ashamed. You're not looking at me, and
no, I am ashamed. Because I know that if I would have played it, that'd probably be my number 1.
Yeah.
Yep, you missed something real special. The level design, I thought, was very clever because it's open world, but since it's a story-driven game, they don't hold you by the hand, but they limit you. But then they slowly reveal more of the open world in a unique way that I won't spoil. It just sort of like adds, every time it happens, and adds a new layer of depth to the world that you already know. And I thought that was very clever. It was really cool. Well designed. Well directed.
Man, when Beaker is over, I have this massive plan. I'm going to tell you right now.
Okay, hit me.
Beaker's over. I'm going to take my paternity. That's 6 weeks, my friend. 6 weeks.
Yeah, sure.
But I'm going to have a baby in the house.
Right.
Can't play too many video games. You know what I'm going to do? I'm going to take another 6 weeks vacation right afterwards. I'm going to be gone the entire summer. And that, I will catch up, my friends. I will catch up.
Well, that's a lot of weeks.
Oh, my God. I have it like in my head. I'm sold. I'm doing it. Blue Sky don't know. I'm doing it.
Blue Sky doesn't know. First year, folks.
So Jeff's just quitting.
I'll be back once Disney fires everybody.
Jeez.
Yeah. All right. 4 games that I feel like could have potentially made my list had I played them. Below. Finally fucking came out, but came out a little too late for me to ever get any time to play it. Did you touch it at all, Pete?
I did. I played through the first few times where you die quite a bit.
Yeah.
And I put it down, and I actually got more into Ashen.
That's the other one on my list that I wanted to play.
Yeah, I started playing that one. That's what I'm playing now. I started playing that one.
Is it good?
I would have put it on my list, but I haven't got that far.
Yeah.
It is very whimsical. When you fall into like caverns or dungeons, or you go into dungeons or anything like that, the space, the way they deal with the space within those dungeons is really claustrophobic. and it's really creepy. So they really set you up for some like curveballs, you know.
The two more, I didn't play much VR this year. The two games that I really wanted to play in VR was Moss, the little mouse guy, and Astrobot, which I had written off completely until it got amazing reviews and everyone was saying it was like the best VR game that ever existed. So now I feel like I have to. And then honorable mentions, speaking of VR, Tetris Effect is fucking dope in VR. It's a really cool feeling, really fun. Into the Breach, we already talked about. Detroit Become Human, big AAA game from Sony about the androids. Probably would scare the shit out of Pete because he doesn't like robots.
Yeah.
It's basically about robots revolting. And it's a good game. It's pretty much just civil rights, but for robots, and not enough done to make it unique or different than what we've already known. It's still interesting and fascinating, but I don't know. It wasn't super well thought out, but it was very fun to play through. Special shout out to Moonlighter, which I'm obsessed with currently, but I don't think I've gotten far enough to put it on a list. Hollow Knight got fairly far, but put it down because it was way too hard and I got super frustrated with it. Jeff beat it. Good job. Congratulations.
You beat it.
Yeah.
Wow.
That is another one of those. You beat that game, you're like, yeah, motherfucker. Yeah, I did it. That is hard. That game is the hardest game I played this year by far.
Really?
Yeah.
It's
very frustrating. Last game is the big 2.0 update for No Man's Sky, which got me and all the guys back for a good 2-3 months back on it. Base building, all that stuff was fucking great. Until you ran into all the bugs that prohibited you from continuing, and that got very frustrating, and then we stopped. But for a while, they did a great job with that. And that's my games of 2018.
You know, one other game you'd be surprised that I started playing this year that I didn't even mention. I started playing Don't Starve Together. That game's fun.
Who are you playing that with?
My brother.
Oh, cool.
It's ridiculously hard. But that
game is super hard.
Yeah, I've never really been into crafting games where you have to like collect objects to build other objects, but it has just enough flair to remind me of Toe Jam and Earl, which I played a bunch with my my brother, and it's like, oh man, it's like a grown-up version of Toe Jam and Earl. Oh, I should be playing this. It's fun.
Well, for your most anticipated games of the year, have you seen the new Toe Jam and Earl? It looks like Don't Starve. It's like flat 3D. It's like a rip-off of Don't Starve.
Yeah, speaking of most anticipated, we should try to get a podcast soon. That will be the focus of our next episode, to talk about all the movies and games, TV shows that we all want to see, maybe we'll see, and we'll talk about it at the end of the year, which ones make our list. This year's the year, man.
So you say.
I gotta have a comeback at some point.
Wait a minute, what are you talking about?
In terms of seeing more movies again, like in total, I saw 8 movies this year. 8. Michael sees more than that a week.
I know I didn't see many. I just don't remember a lot of them.
That's total watched. Like the only other thing, like I was asking Deb, I was like, what the heck did we watch this year? And it was like, we watched a 1.5-year-old season of Orange is the New Black, and we watched half a season of Making a Murderer 2. That was it. It's just, man.
Did Stranger Things come out this past?
Nope. That was last year.
That was last year? Huh. Time flies, gentlemen.
Yeah, it does.
It sure does. Pro tip, if you want to keep track of your movies for the next year, there's an app called Letterboxd that basically you can keep track of all the films you've seen and rate them and sort them and do all sorts of great stuff.
I think I'll do that because I've just been keeping a constant notes page where I rate it and stuff. So Letterboxd, huh?
Yep.
Cool. Good tip.
That's cool. I'm stoked about the year ahead. I took a look over the past week just to like.
Yeah, in terms of my
get a
video
good idea
games,
what's coming.
yeah.
It's gonna be cool.
I should be able to copy and paste my most anticipated list from last year. And nothing came out. Is there anything else you guys want to talk about before we call this a wrap and another good episode?
Think I'm good.
I don't think so, man.
Well, hopefully we'll stay on target and have another episode for you guys soon. I have that baby on the way, so it'll be a little tough. But hey, man,
everything might be screwed.
Quinn's on his way. He's coming soon, man.
Quinn, awesome.
Quinn, yeah. Q, yeah.
And happy 3-year anniversary, gentlemen.
Yeah.
We did it.
Yep.
Where's your sound? Ukulele.
The baby?
Dude, that app doesn't work anymore.
Oh, that sucks.
Because the guy didn't update it for the new iOS. It's really unfortunate.
You should send him an email.
I think I'm fine. I've got this. It's Michael's top 6.
Good stuff. All right, gentlemen.
Reminds me kind of like, it has like a Weird Al Yankovic sort of feel to it.
Thank you. I am a genius.
This has been Just a Few More Minutes podcast with 3 veterans of the animation and video game industry. Talk about exactly that, animation video games. We'll catch you in a couple weeks with our most anticipated. Peace.
Yep. See you, fellas.
Bye, boys. Hereditary.
Yeah, no.
It.
Spider-Man.
What the fuck was that? Did you guys get that?
No.
Woo!
What?
That was some freaky sounding shit. I wonder if it's in the playback. You'll have to hear it. That was weird.
Was it that fucking bear thing you got going somewhere?
No, it was your guys' voices got all fucked up right after you mentioned Hereditary.
Oh.
It's weird.
Oh, man.
I hope it's in the recording.
I really hope it's in the recording.
Oh, boy.